My husband's affair partner crashed our daughter's birthday party. On the day of my daughter's 6th birthday party, I was in full chaoscum mode. Balloons half-inflated. Pizza on the way. 10 kids running around my backyard like tiny drunk people. I was standing at the snack table arranging fruit when the gate opened, and a woman I'd never seen before walked in, holding a pink gift bag. She was dressed like she thought she was going to brunch, not a kid's party. She scanned the yard, smiled when she saw my husband, and said, "There you are, Nate. You didn't tell me it would be this cute." No one calls him Nate. Not his coworkers. Not his family. Not me. To everyone, he's always been Nathan. He went pale. The color just drained out of his face. Our daughter Emma ran over, eyes bright. "Who's that?" she asked. The woman crouched down, smile turning sugary. "I'm a friend of your daddy's," she said. "I brought you something special." Then she looked up at me and added, "Oh, you must be Emily. I've heard so much about you." Here's the thing. She used my official full name. The one on our mortgage. Not the nickname everyone calls me. It felt clinical. Like she'd read it on a form, not heard it in casual conversation. I didn't scream. I didn't throw her and her gift bag back through the gate like an angry bouncer. I made one small change. I asked Jason, my husband, to help me bring something in from the garage, slid the patio door shut so the kids were all outside with my sister and neighbors. And then, in the quiet of our kitchen, asked him, "Who is she?" I thought the worst-case scenario was that I'd caught him emotionally cheating. What I didn't know yet was that she'd been to this house before when I wasn't home. She'd seen photos of my daughter growing up, and she had 2 years' worth of text messages calling my husband ours and me the obstacle. My name is Emily. I'm 33 years old, and I live in a mid-sized town in Texas, just outside Dallas. I've been married to Jason for 9 years. We have one daughter, Emma, who is 6 in this story. If you'd met us 2 years ago, you would have said we were boring in a good way. 2 working parents. 1 kid, a dog, a mortgage, PTA meetings, Netflix, bedtime stories. At least, that's how I would have described us. Jason works in IT for a logistics company. I'm a nurse. We met in our early 20s when he came into the ER with a sprained ankle after trying to play basketball like he wasn't a desk worker. He made self-deprecating jokes while I did his discharge paperwork. He asked me out once I could walk without crutches. 3 years later, we were married. Our relationship wasn't fireworks and movie montages. It was more shared memes from opposite ends of the couch, arguing about who had to do the dishes, knowing exactly how the other person liked their coffee. When Emma was born, he stepped up. He changed diapers. He did 3 a.m. bottle shifts. He sang off-key lullabies that made her smile anyway. We were tired, but we were a team. The first crack showed up around year 7. His company went through a restructure, which is corporate for. We're going to lay off people and make the ones left behind do more work for the same pay. Suddenly, he was staying late, logging in on weekends, talking about big projects and important clients. I'm a nurse. Late shifts happen. I understood. But the vibe changed. He started guarding his phone more, setting it face down on the table, taking calls on the patio instead of the living room. I told myself I was being paranoid. We were adults. Parents. We didn't have time for cheating drama. Right? One night around 10 p.m., his phone buzzed on the coffee table while he was in the shower. I glanced at it out of habit. A text preview from a number not in his contacts. "Still thinking about your stupid laugh. Today made my week. Sleep well." My stomach dropped. Today had been work late day. I did what every therapist will tell you not to do in the abstract, and absolutely everyone does in reality. I opened the message thread. It wasn't labeled with a name. Just a number. The conversation was months long. It started innocently enough. Work banter. Complaints about meetings. Jokes about clients. Then it got flirty. "You're the only reason I get through these calls. Lunch with you is greater than any promotion." Then it crossed a line. "I like who I am when I'm with you. Wish we could hit pause on our lives and run away for a weekend. No explicit photos. No, I love yous." But enough romantic undertone that my chest hurt. I scrolled back to see if I'd missed any context. There was one message from Jason about 6 months ago that made me feel like I'd been punched. "She doesn't get me the way you do." She. That would be me. I closed the app, hands shaking. Sat there on the couch with the TV flickering. Felt like my living room had tipped sideways. Logical brain kicked in. Affair, emotional at least, maybe more. Emotional brain screamed. Pretend you didn't see it. You have work at 7 a.m. and a field trip permission slip to sign. You do not have time to blow up your life tonight. He came out of the shower, smiled at me. Hey, he said. You okay? You look pale. I opened my mouth to confront him. Closed it. Long day, I said. I'm going to bed. I lay awake for hours, listening to him breathe, my own heart thundering. By morning, I'd convinced myself to do nothing. Yet, I screenshotted the conversation, sent it to an email address I'd made years ago and forgotten the password to then remembered, conveniently, that morning. Subject line. If you gaslight yourself later, start here. Then I went to work. Changed diapers. Started IVs. Smiled at patients. Came home. Made dinner. Life went on. I watched him closer. He didn't suddenly transform into a stranger. He still took Emma to the park. Still kissed my forehead in the kitchen. Still fixed the leaky faucet. And that almost made it worse. Because if he was capable of sending messages like that and still being this, what did that say about the person I'd been sleeping next to for almost a decade? I knew I couldn't sit in limbo forever. But then, two things happened almost back to back. The number went from unknown to a name in his phone. Kara. Warehouse. Emma's 6th birthday started creeping up on the calendar. And I found myself shoving those screenshots into the mental drawer labeled "Deal with after the party." Because motherhood teaches you to triage. And I didn't want my daughter's birthdays to forever be linked to the night her parents imploded. In hindsight, postponing the explosion didn't prevent it. It just rescheduled it. Right into the middle of a backyard full of kindergartners. Emma wanted a unicorn party. Of course she did. Half her class had had some version of it that year. I tried to talk her into dinosaurs. Or space. Or anything that didn't involve pastel everything and hooves. She stared at me, eyes wide. But Mommy, she said, unicorns are magic and 6 is a big girl. Can't argue with that. We compromised. Unicorn cake. Rainbow decorations. A bounce house we could barely justify but booked anyway. Jason was great about the party on the surface. Inflated balloons. Strung lights in the backyard. Assembled a plastic playhouse with 3 extra screws left over. It'll be fine, he said. Probably. There were flickers of that same secretive energy with his phone. But he seemed genuinely excited when Emma shrieked at the sight of the bounce house. Best mom and dad ever, she yelled, hugging us both. For a second, I shelved everything else. Day of the party, I was up early. Baking cupcakes. Laying out plates. Making sure the dog was sufficiently tired out so he wouldn't jump on the kids and cause chaos. My sister, Amanda, showed up an hour before. Arms full of party favors. What do you need? She asked, already in helper mode. Can you handle the kids' table decorations? I said. I'll do snacks. Jason was in charge of picking up pizzas, getting ice, blowing up the giant unicorn balloon Emma had seen at the store and not stopped talking about for a week. Parents started dropping off kids. Soon my backyard was a blur of tiny bodies and glitter. I was in the kitchen cutting up fruit when Amanda popped her head in. Hey, the gate's open. Did you leave it unlocked? She asked. I don't think so, I said, frowning. The side gate is our usual entry for guests. It sticks a little. You have to yank it. I wiped my hands, walked out toward the yard. That's when I saw her. Mid-30s. Blonde bob. Light sundress that did not say, I'm about to be near juice boxes and frosting. Pink gift bay in one hand. Phone in the other. She scanned the yard, eyes landing on Jason first. Her face lit up like someone had turned on a spotlight inside it. There you are, Nate, she called. You didn't tell me it would be this cute. Not. It jolted through me. Everyone else in his life calls him Nathan. I'd seen Nate in those texts. Miss you, Nate. You're my favorite part of this week, Nate. Hearing it out loud felt like watching a text message crawl off the screen and become a person. Jason's entire body went rigid. He was holding a stack of paper plates. He dropped them. Kara, he said, stumbling over her name. What are you doing here? A few parents turned to look. Amanda raised an eyebrow. Emma, mid-bounce, paused to see why everyone was suddenly staring at the entrance. The woman smiled brightly. I told you I couldn't resist meeting your little girl, she said. You've told me so much about her. My stomach turned. My husband's affair partner was in my backyard, at my child's birthday party, holding a gift, knowing my kid's name. I didn't know for sure yet, but every instinct screamed it. Emma bounced over, hair flying. "Daddy," she said. "Who is that?" Kara crouched down, all faux warmth. "I'm a friend of your daddy's from work," she said. "I brought you a present. 6 is a big deal." She extended the bag. Emma reached for it reflexively. I stepped in, gentle but firm. "Why don't we set that on the gift table for now?" I said, taking it from both of them. "We'll open everything after cake, okay?" Kara's eyes flicked to me, assessing. She extended a hand. "You must be Emily," she said. "It's so nice to finally meet you." Finally. Like this had been a long time coming. I did not shake her hand. I balanced the gift bag on my hip and said, "And you are?" Before she could answer, Amanda slid up beside me. Her smile was all teeth. "And how do you know Nathan again?" she asked sweetly. "Because Emily's never mentioned you, and we talk about pretty much everyone." Kara hesitated for the smallest fraction of a second, then recovered. "We work together," she said. "He talks about you and Emma all the time. I feel like I already know you." Translation in my head. I know the curated version of you he's given me to justify whatever we've been doing. I looked at Jason. He looked like he wanted to sink into the ground. "Can I talk to you?" I said to him, voice calm in that scary way. "In private." The pizza guy is," he started. "Amanda can meet the pizza," I said. "You can meet your wife in the garage." Without waiting for a reply, I walked toward the sliding door. Behind me, I heard Amanda switch into crowd control voice. "Okay, kids, who wants to play a game with Aunt Amanda while the grown-ups do boring stuff?" she called. A chorus of shrieks. The bounce house rustled. I slid the door shut. The glass muffled the noise. My house, suddenly, was quiet and heavy. I led the way through the kitchen into the garage. Closed that door too. This time, no audience. "Who is she?" I asked, turning to face him. He rubbed the back of his neck. Eyes darted to the washing machine like he'd rather climb into it than have this conversation. "She's from work," he said. "Warehouse side. I told you about the new logistics coordinator." "Try again," I said. "Because I've read the text, Jason. I've seen you're the only one who gets me, and I wish we could run away together. That's not how you talk to a logistics coordinator." His face drained of what little color it had left. "You went through my phone?" he asked. "You went through our marriage," I snapped. "We'll discuss privacy violations later. Right now, you brought your affair partner to our daughter's birthday party. Without telling me, start talking." He leaned back against the dryer like his legs might give out. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," he said weakly. "That line never means anything good," I replied. "Be specific." He exhaled. "We've been talking," he admitted. "For a while. It started as work stuff. Then we connected." "How long?" I asked. "About 1.5 years," he said, staring at the floor. My stomach flipped. 1.5 years. Those screenshots had only gone back 6 months. "I thought it was just texting," I said. Was I wrong? He didn't answer right away. The silence pulsed. "How many times?" I asked, because apparently my brain was determined to hurt me thoroughly. He started. "How many times?" I repeated. 3, he muttered. 4, counting that time at the hotel conference. My hands went cold. "And you thought, what? Bringing her here would make it normal?" I asked. "Ease her into the family? Let her see the life you've been lying about?" "It got out of hand," he said. "She kept saying she felt like a secret. She said if I really cared, I'd stop hiding her. I didn't invite her to the party. I mentioned it at work, and she just magically knew where we live and where the gate latch sticks?" I cut in. "You had to at least not tell her not to come." He ran a hand through his hair. "I didn't think she'd actually show up," he said. "I thought she just wanted to make a point." I laughed once, sharp. "Congratulations," I said. Point made. On the other side of the door, I heard kids squealing, and Amanda's voice leading a game of duck, duck, goose. My daughter's birthday was happening. Right now. In a backyard with a bounce house, a cake, a woman who had been sleeping with my husband holding a gift bag with my child's name on it. I took a breath that felt like it scraped my throat on the way in. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You are going to go back out there. You are going to ask her to leave, quietly. If she refuses, Amanda will help her find the exit. You will not cause a scene in front of our daughter any more than you already have by inviting chaos into her life. I didn't invite, he started. You did, I said. When you decided your ego was more important than honesty. That's how we got here. You fix what you can in the next 10 minutes or I will. And if I have to do it, I promise you no one will leave wondering what this was. He swallowed, nodded. Okay, he said. And Jason? I added as he reached for the door. Yeah? This conversation isn't over, I said. I'm shelving it so our kid doesn't have her birthday burned into her memory as the day her parents lost their minds, but don't mistake my composure for acceptance. He nodded again, opened the door, stepped back into the noise. I watched from the kitchen as he crossed the yard to Kara. She crossed her arms, shook her head, glanced at me through the glass. Her expression said, "You might be his wife on paper, but I know things you don't." I met her eyes, did not look away. After a few tense minutes, she huffed, grabbed her bag, and left the gift on the table. Jason walked her to the gate. Didn't hug her, didn't touch her. Just opened it. She said something over her shoulder I couldn't hear. He answered with a one-syllable word. Then, she was gone. I exhaled. Amanda slid the door open with her hip, balancing a bowl of chips. You okay? She asked quietly. No, I said. But Emma's about to blow out candles, so I'll be whatever I need to be for the next hour. Emma's face when we sang was all that mattered in that moment. Her cheeks flushed, her eyes bright. In her memory, that's the headline of the day. Not the woman at the gate. That's the only part I don't regret about how I handled that afternoon. Everything after? That's where the real choices started. After the kids went home, after the leftover pizza was stuffed into the fridge, after Emma passed out in a frosting coma, Jason and I sat at the kitchen table. The unicorn plates were stacked in a leaning tower between us. The gift bag from Kara sat on the counter, obnoxiously pink. I hadn't opened it yet. What did you tell her? I asked. That it was inappropriate, he said dully. That this is our family space. That she crossed a line. Did you mention the part where you've been erasing lines for a year and a half? I asked. He winced. No, he said. I figured I'd focus on one disaster at a time. Lucky you, I said. You get to choose. He flinched again. I'm sorry, he said. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am. I looked at him. Really looked. This was the man I'd shared a bed with for nearly a decade. The father of my child. Who had sent texts to someone else about running away. Let that person into our lives far enough that she knew our address. Stayed long enough in the fantasy that she thought showing up at our daughter's party was an option. I believe you're sorry, I said. I don't know if I believe you're safe. For me, for this family. He swallowed. Can I show you something? He asked. He pulled out his phone, opened the messages with Kara. They were longer than what I'd seen months ago. He scrolled up, way up, to a message from her the day we posted Emma's first day of kindergarten photo in our family group chat. Kara. She looks so cute. I feel like I've watched her grow up through your stories. Jason. You'd like her. She's got her mom's sass. My throat tightened. She'd seen our kids' milestones in real time. I thought we were sharing them with grandparents and siblings. He kept scrolling. Kara. Sometimes I think we were supposed to end up together, but the timing was wrong. You had your family. I had my mess. Meeting you now feels like fate correcting itself. Jason. Don't say that. You know I'd never leave Emma. Kara. You could be with both of us. We'd be so good to her, to each other. I felt nauseous. There it was. Not just cheating. Fantasy family planning. Did you talk about her being a stepmom? I asked, voice thin. He shook his head. Not seriously, he said. She brought it up. I deflected. I told myself I was managing it, keeping it contained. I snorted. How's that containment plan working out? I asked. He had the decency to look ashamed. Then a new message popped up at the bottom of the thread. From Kara. I can't believe you threw me out like some random stranger. After everything? After today? I deserve to be there. I love her too. I'm not going away just because your little wife glared at me. My jaw clenched. Jason typed back. Do not contact me again. This was a mistake. All of it. I'm telling Emily everything. He hit send. Looked at me. I don't want any more secrets, he said. If there's any chance of fixing this, it has to start with no more lies. I let that sit. What did you tell her about me? I asked. In all of this? He scrolled. Found one message. Showed me. Kara. What does she have that I don't? His reply, months ago. Jason, history, Emma, a life we built. It's not about better or worse, it's about timing. No mention of love, of partnership. Just history, kids, convenience. I suddenly saw our marriage the way he'd been treating it. As an obligation he couldn't bring himself to end. Not a choice he was actively making anymore. That hurt more than any explicit "I love you" he might have sent Kara. Because it meant, even if he'd never cheated, something in him had already checked out. I picked up the gift bag, untied the ribbon. Inside, a pretty, overpriced doll I knew Emma would love. A cat in glitterpin. Dear Emma, happy 6th birthday, sweet girl. You are so loved. I'm so lucky I get to know you. Love? Kara? I'm so lucky I get to know you. My daughter. Who had no idea this woman existed until today? I put the doll back in the bag. Set it aside. I'll let Emma keep the toy, I said. She didn't ask for any of this. But Kara doesn't get to keep writing herself into our life like she's entitled to it. Jason nodded. I agree, he said. I'm glad you agree, I said. Because as of now, whether I stay in this marriage or not, she is not coming near our kid again. Court order or not, you understand? He nodded again. I understand, he said. I stood up. We'll talk about us when Emma's at school, I said. I'm not making any decisions tonight, but I'm also not pretending everything is fine so you can sleep better. He flinched. I'll take the couch, he said. For now, I replied. The next week was a blur of work, packing lunches, dropping Emma at school, smiling through school pickup small talk, and quietly consulting a divorce lawyer. I didn't tell Jason right away. Not because I wanted to sneak around, because I needed information before I decided whether this was fixable or not. The lawyer's name was Miss Alvarez. Her office was in a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax prep place. She had kind eyes and a no-nonsense tone. She asked for a basic rundown. Length of marriage, assets, child's age, any history of abuse. Then she asked, why now? I took a breath. My husband's affair partner showed up at my daughter's 6th birthday party, I said. With a gift, knowing my kid's name. Calling my husband by a nickname I've only seen in flirty texts. He admitted to the affair. I'm on the fence about whether this is survivable. She nodded like she'd heard worse. She probably had. There's no legal requirement for you to decide that today, she said. What I can do is tell you your options so you're not staying out of fear of the unknown. We talked about custody possibilities, child support, the house, his pension. Then she asked, do you think he'll fight you? On custody? On assets? I thought about Jason. Not the cheating version. The one who still packed Emma's lunch, knew her bedtime routine by heart, cried when she sang off-key in her preschool recital. He loves our daughter, I said. I don't see him suddenly becoming a burn-it-down dad. As for money, he's conflict avoidant. He hates court. I think mostly he'd be ashamed. She nodded. Then if you choose to leave, this could be relatively amicable, she said. Painful but not scorched earth. If, I repeated. She looked at me. We can't talk about whether you should forgive him, she said. That's between you, him, and a therapist. What I can say is, staying, just to give your child an intact household while you silently resent him, is not actually protecting her. That landed hard. I scheduled a couples therapy appointment. Told Jason the night before. He looked grim. Do you want me to move out? He asked. Eventually, I said. But for now, I want Emma to have stability. Separate rooms for us, clear rules, no fighting in front of her, and you finding a new therapist who is not named Kara ever again. He winced. Fair, he said. In therapy, the cheating came out in all its messy detail. Jason talked about feeling taken for granted, feeling like we were roommates, wanting to feel seen. I swear cheating men must get that word issued with their first affair. I talked about feeling like his co-parent and housemate more than his partner. His emotional exit from the marriage long before the physical one. How he never once actually asked for specific changes before outsourcing his feelings to a coworker. Our therapist, Dr. Miller, listened. Then, said something that surprised him. You didn't cheat because your wife failed you, she said. You cheated because you didn't have the tools or courage to have uncomfortable conversations with her and deal with your own dissatisfaction. That's yours to own, not hers. He opened his mouth, closed it, nodded. I realized, sitting there, that I could forgive him as a human. I could see how stress, ego, loneliness, had mixed into a bad decisions stew. What I didn't know was whether I could ever trust him as a partner again. Trust requires honesty, willingness to be vulnerable before jumping the fence. He'd failed on both. As for Kara, she did not go quietly into that good night. She emailed Jason's work HR when he stopped talking to her, accusing him of emotional manipulation. Posted a vague but obvious TikTok about older men with kids wasting your time. Sent me one email from her personal account with the subject line, "If you're going to hate me, at least hate me for the right reasons." In it, she wrote, "I didn't crash your daughter's party. He told me about it. I thought it would be a step toward honesty. I love him. I care about your daughter. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted a place in the life he said he was unhappy in." I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Miss Alvarez. She said, "Save it. If she keeps inserting herself into your child's life, we may need a formal, no unrelated adults clause in a custody agreement." That was the first time the word custody didn't feel like an abstract threat. It felt like a plan. A few weeks later, I made my choice. Not in a dramatic slam-the-door moment. In a quiet one. Washing dishes while Emma hummed in the other room, Jason sitting at the table working on something for his job. I looked at him, at our life, at the still healing bruise in my chest, and thought, if she shows up again in our texts, at our gates, in our kids' spaces, I'm going to resent him for putting us all in a position where that's possible. And I don't want my daughter growing up in a house where resentment is the background noise. I dried my hands, turned. "I want a divorce," I said. He closed his laptop slowly, nodded. "I figured," he said, voice thick. We cried. We hugged. We told Emma together, in age-appropriate terms, that Mom and Dad won't live in the same house anymore. "We both love you. You did nothing wrong." She asked, "Will I still have 2 houses?" We said yes. She considered. "Do I get 2 Christmases?" she asked. We laughed through tears. "Yes," I said, "you very much do." It's been almost 2 years since Jason's affair partner showed up at our daughter's 6th birthday party. Here's where everyone landed. Jason, we're divorced. It was, mercifully, mostly amicable. He moved into a rental 10 minutes away. Pays child support. Has Emma every other weekend and 1 night a week. He goes to therapy. Real therapy. With someone whose last name he doesn't know and who definitely doesn't work in his building. We're civil. We text about school projects, bedtimes, dentist appointments. We do not talk about our personal lives beyond what affects Emma. Sometimes at joint event school plays, soccer games, I see the regret in his face. Not regret that he got caught. Regret that he didn't deal with his issues in an adult way before grenading our marriage. That's his to carry, not mine. Kara, he does not see her anymore. That much I know. He told me once, in a logistically necessary conversation about who was at his house during his time with Emma, that we broke it off for good. She kept trying to insert herself in ways that even I could see weren't healthy. She got moved to another department at work after HR got involved. Last I checked, yes, I peaked. I'm human. Her social media has shifted from vague affair content to vague empowerment memes. Know your worth and add tax. If he wanted to, he would. I hope, for the sake of any future partners, that she actually does the work behind those quotes. But that's not my business anymore. What is my business is that she has never been on a pickup or drop-off, been to a school event, been at a birthday since. Because that was a hard line I drew in our custody agreement. No unrelated romantic partners present at child's primary events until relationship has been stable for at least 6 months and both parents agree. Miss Alvarez worded it more legally. The judge signed off. The message was clear. No more strangers at my kids' milestones. No more surprises at the gate. Emma, she's 8 now. She remembers her 6th birthday as the one with the bounce house and the unicorn cake, and when Aunt Amanda fell trying to race us. She does not seem to remember the tall blonde lady with the pink bag. If she does, she's never asked. She loves science, drawing, asking a million questions at bedtime. She is, so far, blissfully unaware of what an affair partner is. Her dad's precise mistakes, The screaming match I didn't have that day to protect her. When she's older, if she asks why we divorced, I'll tell her. Grown-ups are responsible for their own choices. Your dad made some that broke our trust. We decided we would be better parents to you in 2 houses than bad partners in 1. She doesn't need the gory details. She needs stability. 2 homes that aren't full of resentment. A mom who models that you don't have to tolerate betrayal to keep a family looking intact. Me? I live in a smaller house now. Less stuff. Less noise. More peace. Go to work. Do school drop-off. Have wine and reality TV nights with Amanda. I date. Cautiously. With better questions. Stronger boundaries. A very clear sense of what respect looks like in the boring déuto ways. If there's one thing I've taken from all of this, it's this. Cheating isn't just about who someone sleeps with. It's about who they let into your shared spaces. Aita. Your bed. Your inbox. Your child's birthday party. Jason's biggest betrayal wasn't just the physical affair. It was allowing someone who didn't respect me or our family to feel entitled to show up in my backyard on a day meant for our daughter. If someone doesn't understand that your partner and kids are not props in their quest to feel important, they do not belong in your life. Full stop. I used to think keeping the family together at all costs was noble. Now I think the family is more together, emotionally, with me in a smaller house and Jason in a rental down the road, than it ever was with us under one roof, while he quietly built a fantasy life with someone else. And Emma? She has. A mom who trusts her own eyes. A dad who is doing the work to be better. An aunt who will raise kids in a bounce house and wipe out spectacularly for their amusement. That's a lot of love. Way more than one unicorn party could ever hold. Last month, as we were driving past one of those party stores with the giant inflatable balloons on the roof, Emma piped up from the back seat. Mom, can I have a mermaid party for my 9th birthday? Of course, I said. Mermaids sound fun. She thought for a second. Will Dad be there? She asked. Yep, I said. Dad and I both will. We'll eat cake and probably embarrass you with bad dancing. She giggled. Okay, she said, but no surprise guests. I only want people I love there. I caught her eye in the rearview mirror. Me too, kiddo, I said. Me too. She went back to humming along to the radio, already planning her mermaid cake out loud. And as I drove us home, sunlight flickering through the windshield, I realized, that's the standard now. Not a perfect, unbroken family picture. Just this. No more surprise guests. No more secrets at the gate. Only people we love. Only people who love us right back.